Detective Jones, can you tell us how you're employed?
Yes, sir. I work for the Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office in Shreveport, Louisiana. I've worked there for the last 20 years.
And are you have any special assignments?
Right now, I work on patrol as a supervisor, but for the previous little over 9 years, I worked as a investigator for the Detective Bureau.
Okay, let me direct your attention back to October of 2024. Were you an investigator and detective back at that time?
Yes, sir. I was a supervisor over our Persons and Property Division.
Okay, and can you tell us, as far as being a detective in that location, what your duties would basically involve?
Investigating criminal matters involving crimes against persons or theft of property.
Okay. Not having been to Caddo Parish before, and that's parish, not county, correct?
That's right.
Okay. Not being in Caddo Parish before, are there any major cities that I would know of that are in Caddo Parish?
Shreveport, Louisiana.
And are there any major highways that run through Caddo Parish?
I-49.
And can you describe that highway?
I-49 is the highway that goes through Caddo Parish, and if you come out of Arkansas south, you'll go all the way to I-10 toward Baton Rouge.
Okay. And if you can tell us, as best you remember, your department became involved in a traffic stop of a Carlos Hernandez back in October of 2024. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And do you recall what day that traffic stop occurred?
October 12, 2024, okay. About 3:43 p.m.
Okay, and does that highway head in the direction of Texas or going that varied route?
Yes, sir. That interstate could lead to I-20 to go to Texas.
Okay. And the directional path that Defendant Hernandez was going, was that north or south, east or west on that highway?
Southbound on I-49.
And were you familiar with the deputy from your parish that engaged in that traffic stop?
Yes, sir.
And who was that?
Deputy Michael Rocco.
Okay. And was there any other assistance by any other law enforcement agencies at that time?
Yes, sir. Corporal Dennis Williams assisted with the traffic stop, and then other deputies came afterwards, and then we got called as the investigative bureau.
Okay. And had your department, along with other law enforcement in Louisiana, been notified by interest by the Oakland County Sheriff's Office in a white Jeep vehicle?
Yes.
And what information did you get provided for you and your department regarding what vehicle was of interest to Oakland County?
Louisiana State Police was notified by a task force that there was a wanted vehicle, and there was a bolo out. So LSP was helping with the pings and then determined that was in Caddo Parish and then called upon us for assistance.
Okay. And that traffic stop, Carlos Hernandez was taken into custody?
He was.
Did you ever have contact with Carlos Hernandez over the time that this case was down being investigated in Louisiana?
Not in reference to this, no.
Okay. When Carlos Hernandez was taken into custody, was Oakland County notified by your department that
yes.
he was in custody?
Yes.
After he was taken into custody, did your department basically process the scene by taking photographs and taking items into property?
Yes.
And was that by search warrant?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been, you've had an opportunity to review those before coming in today, the photographs?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as People's Exhibit number 3A. Hopefully technology works, and it is up there on your screen.
It is.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. For reference, Exhibit number 3A is photographed by your department showing the white Jeep front. Is that correct?
Yes.
Going to Exhibit 3B. That is a photograph from your department showing the passenger side of that white Jeep?
Yes.
Exhibit 3C shows the rear of that Jeep. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that also has the plate that comes back to the Be on the Lookout that your department received?
Yes, sir.
Going to Exhibit 3D, that is the VIN number that is assigned to that vehicle?
It is.
Photograph 3E, is that the Jeep driver's side?
It is.
Showing you 3F. Is this a photograph of the Jeep passenger side and glove box?
Yes.
Showing a photograph 3G. Is that a close-up of the Jeep glove box?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as 3H. Is that the clipboard inside the glove box?
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked as 3I. Is that a photograph of the rear seat of the Jeep?
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked as 3J, which is the Jeep trunk. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Showing you what's been marked as 3K. Is that a pair of black Nikes?
Yes, sir.
Showing you what's been marked as Exhibit 3L. Is that a black Nike on the right side?
Yes.
Showing what's been marked as 3L. Is that a black Nike 3M? Is that showing you the Nike sole of that right side?
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked as 3N as in Nancy. Is that showing you the left black Nike?
This is the left side
That's
of the
still
shoe.
in.
Yes, sir.
The 3N. Do we have 3N? Is that the left side of the black Nike?
Yes, sir.
3O. Is that showing you the sole of the left shoe of the black Nike?
Yes.
Moving on to 3P. Does that photograph show a placard for a DTE sign?
Yes.
Showing you what's 3Q. Is that showing a license plate with the identifying POCO 32?
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked as 3R. Is that showing you a bucket hat?
Yes, sir.
Showing you what's been marked as 3S. Is that showing a white mask?
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked as 3T. Is that showing a Home Depot bag?
Yes, sir.
Showing you what's been marked as 3U. Is that showing a pair of brown boots?
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked as 3V. Is that showing you a black sweat jacket?
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked 3W. Is that a white t-shirt?
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked as 3X. Is that showing you the interior contents of the vehicle?
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked as 3Y. Is that showing you the roof rack that was attached and some of its contents?
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked as 3Z. Is that a black Nike bag?
Yes, sir.
Showing you what's been marked as 3AA. Is that opening for the contents of the black Nike bag?
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked as 3BB. Is that showing you a chest drawer from inside that Nike bag?
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked as 3CC. Is that showing you the contents of that drawer?
Yes, except for the green Bonita that was on top of the clipboard inside of the glove box.
Thank you. Showing you what's been marked as 3DD. Is that showing close-up of the contents?
Yes, sir.
Showing you what's been marked as 3EE. Is that showing you another angle of that drawer's contents?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the people would move the exhibits we just discussed, 3A through 3EE, into evidence.
Any objection?
I have no objection, Your Honor.
No, they're all in.
Now, that's the photographs that we had discussed that was taken by Cato Parish, but they also took physical items into custody. Is that also correct?
Yes.
I'm going to try to do this as efficiently as possible. Just for counsel's sake and for the record, first we're going to discuss 6A through 8I, which I believe are going to be noted as we go.
Is there objections to any of these?
No, I have no objection.
Okay, all right, so are you moving for admission?
Judge?
Just trying to move it along if you're moving for admission and there's no objection.
I am going to move for admission, and then I will accept the
Publish.
stipulation to publish. I just want the record to note they do have all Cato Parish evidence
You
tags.
can ask all those questions, but just move it along. No objection. 686I. Was that your request, or is the 6J part of that?
And for the record, 6A is the physical clipboard, 6B is the DT sign, 6C is the POCO plate, 6D is the Pandora box, 6E is a turtle pendant, 6F is a home flex gas meter reader, 6G is the gray fisherman hat, 6H is the Home Depot bag and tools, and 6I is a hammer.
Sarah.
Also, the next batch of exhibits, which were also taken in by Cato Parish, these are the ones that went to the Oakland County lab. That's why they're numbered differently. These are lab exhibits. These exhibits would be 7A through 7G. If council wants to stipulate to that, we'll accept that stipulation, and I will just read what they are on the record.
Well, Your Honor, I have no objection to the admission of these being admitted in.
7A through 7G is allowed now. Okay, so they're in. I have a question. Did you move for 6J?
No, I crossed that one off.
Okay.
7A for the record is tan boots that were taken in by Cato Parish. 7B is white.
A lot of people don't realize what a tough job it is to be a prosecutor in having to introduce all the pieces of evidence gathered in a homicide case like this one. Lots of evidence. Everything has to be identified properly for the record. You have to prove chain of custody. It's a lot. There's a lot of work that goes into trying a homicide case. Our next guest knows how to do that very well. You've seen her in action on court TV. She used to work as a defense attorney, and then she's serving as a prosecutor. Now she's a solicitor in the state of South Carolina. Attorney April Sampson with us. Good morning, April. Welcome back. It's been way too long since we've seen you. I know you're very busy, but it's a real treat to have you on the show today. So give us your assessment here of this case and how these prosecutors are doing, as we were just pulling back from that moment where that was a lot, going through all those pieces of evidence. You know what that's like.
Well, and it sounds like they may have done a lot of work on the front end. So as I was watching, I was wondering, he was leading a little bit, saying, is this telling the witness what's in the picture? Normally you would do it the opposite. You would say to the witness, tell me what's in this picture, and then they would outline it. So it looks like they've done a lot on the front end to work with the defense to say, what are you going to object to and what are you okay with? And is it okay if I lead? You've got to get permission to do all of that. And so to his credit, he had done all of that. And as the judge said, let's move this along. Let's just do it all at one time. And there was no objection by the defense, which is typical in a case like this where you're just looking at items. There's not going to be an objection because they were gathered at the time and done correctly. So what are you going to object to?
Exactly, April. You know, you pick your battles at trial, right? You pick the things to fight on, and if there's something you can concede it. So in terms of the elaborate nature of this case, want to get your take on what these defendants allegedly did here in allegedly coming up with this ruse to get everything from a fake decal to put on this stolen truck to the clothing that they allegedly wore, all of these things, encasing the home, allegedly knowing their target, having gone to his pawn shop before, so police say. What do you think when you hear these facts?
I think this took a lot of planning on the front end, and the state has a lot of evidence to show that. And for the defense, I think it's going to be really hard to get a jury to think that they either weren't part of the planning or did not participate in this crime. I mean, it's a lot of evidence. And I know you were talking earlier about why didn't they not plead guilty. It could be that they didn't get an offer. It also could be that sometimes defendants just don't want to admit what they did. And so often we'll call it a really long plea. The trial is just a way to get the case done because the defendants just won't plead. The amount of evidence they have in this case is kind of overwhelming in terms of all the planning it took. And now they're going through the items that were found in the vehicle with the defendants. And I'm going to assume that these items were from the home of the victims. And so, if I was a defense attorney, this would be a hard case.
Definitely, April. And you've been on both sides of the courtroom. And like you said, this could be a slow plea, as we call it, when the evidence is so bad, but a defendant is exercising his or her right to go to trial. And as you were talking, something else just occurred to me, and I'm sure you've had this. I don't know what these guys have in terms of any criminal history. We're not privy to any rap sheets, so don't know. But just looking at the nature of this and how involved that was, if I had to bet on it, I would bet this wasn't their first rodeo. So I'm wondering if, let's just say, sometimes you have the cases, I know you know where I'm going with this, April, if you've got somebody on probation for some other case and then they pick up another one like this, they're going to be violating the terms of their probation and going to be resentenced on that whole first case. So sometimes, I wonder, or if it's parole and, they're going back upstate. Yeah. Did you think about that too? I'm sure with these guys.
My guess is they've either been in trouble before and caught, and so they've learned from their mistakes, or they were in trouble, didn't get caught, and continue to do this. This does not look to me like their first time. It's just not normal for you to have this much planning and it be your first time ever getting in trouble or ever doing a crime. They just may have never been caught before, or as you said, they may have been out on parole or probation or have done this before, been done with their time and done it again. It took a lot of planning, like having the vest and having the vehicle and casing the plates. All of those things are indicative of somebody who's done this before. It's just not their first time. I agree with you on that.
April Sampson, great insight from you as always. Stand by kindly, please. We're going to hit a break. When we come back, we'll see the detective on the stand be cross-examined by both defense attorneys.
They came to the door and said that they were DTE employees and that they were checking for a gas leak.
A completely disturbing and unforgivable act, in my opinion.
We're DTE, we're checking for gas leaks.
Mr. Hernandez and Mrs. Zuazo came into the house, and my husband was going to show them where the basement was.
When we asked him why only one victim was killed, he became irate and yelled something along the lines of, "What do you mean, why did we kill only one? It wasn't supposed to go down like that."
We're watching the home invasion hoax case. Welcome back to Court TV Live. Now it's time for the cross-examination of the detective on the stand. Here we go.
Lieutenant Jones, my name is Michael McCarthy. I represent one of the defendants in this case, Joshua Zuazo. I have just a few questions to ask you regarding your testimony here today.
Yes,
you were the person that be like the supervisor of the other deputies from the Cato Parish Sheriff's Office that went to the scene of where the vehicle was stopped and took the items that are now admitted into evidence from that vehicle. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. The vehicle was brought to our division where it was stored safely.
And then that's where the search was done.
Yes,
was
sir.
in the police or the sheriff's garage.
Yes, sir.
That we saw in those photographs.
That's right.
And in those photographs, one thing I did not notice was a child seat, safety seat for a child to ride in a vehicle. Was there one of those in there? If you know.
I don't remember if there was a child seat in there or not.
Okay, there was quite a bit of stuff crammed into that vehicle, correct?
There was, yeah.
And but I just didn't note that, and it's not in any report that there was one recovered.
I gotcha. I don't know that there was one in there.
Okay, thank you. And then these items that were taken out of that Nike bag, that was where this pair of brown shoes was found, as well as the Nike shoes. Is that correct?
A white trash bag.
A white trash bag.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't clear on that.
Yeah.
So, and that white trash bag was in the back part of this Jeep?
That's right.
And the Nike bag was actually up on the roof in the rooftop carrier?
I believe so, in the cargo holder.
Yes.
If there was any shoes taken out of it, it was a pair of Air Maxes, but a female pair.
Okay.
Of a much smaller size.
And female shoes, not male shoes.
Correct, yeah.
Thank you. And this vehicle, you and other members of the Cato Parish Sheriff's Office had communication from the Oakland County Sheriff's Office about the fact that they were asking you to be on the lookout for this Jeep. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And to your knowledge, the only people that were in that Jeep in Louisiana headed toward, or at least pointed in the direction of Texas, was Mr. Hernandez and his wife and this child.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you. Cross Hernandez. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to hit the pause button right here. We'll see another cross-examination next in the home invasion hoax murder case. Plus, we're monitoring a hearing going on right now in Georgia for defendant Trinity Pogue. She's a former beauty pageant queen in Georgia, and she's facing accusations of killing her boyfriend's toddler. We'll be right back.
4 dead students.
None of it seemed to make any sense.
He was evil.
What devastation.
All I can do is scream.
Victim to Verdict with Ted Rowlands. New episode Saturday night, 8 Eastern and Pacific.
Only on Court TV.
These are the cases that captivated the world.
Couldn't keep my life straight.
They were killed by their own children.
That challenged the legal system and ourselves. Court TV, Legendary Trials.
Back to court we go. We're in Michigan for the home invasion hoax case. We got a detective on the stand. Now it's time for a second cross-examination.
So you have obviously had an opportunity to talk to the officers that were responsible for pulling Mr. Hernandez over, correct?
Yes.
And to your understanding, did that officer put the lights on and conduct like a normal traffic stop, like all of us are familiar with?
Conducted a felony traffic stop with lights.
And Mr. Hernandez pulled over the vehicle?
He did.
And did he follow the commands of the officer to exit the vehicle?
He did.
There was no running or attempt to flee, correct?
No, ma'am.
All right, so I want to go over some of the items in the photographs that were just discussed. Were you there during the search of the vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. And how many people were involved in the actual search and recording of what was found in that vehicle, if you recall?
Four, including myself and then CSI investigator Ty King.
Okay. So I have in my possession a return on search warrant. I have it as a 2-page document. Is that where someone from your office or yourself wrote down all of the items that were taken?
Detective Ellis. Yes.
Okay. So is it your policy to write down every single thing on this return of search warrant that was removed from the vehicle?
Yes.
Okay, so I have reviewed the return on search warrant and I don't see that gloves are written down. I also, when we were looking at the photos, I don't see a picture of gloves. Do you specifically have any recollection where these gloves were located?
Gloves, I don't remember gloves.
Okay. There is an exhibit that was just entered, which is 7G. Mr. Petrofessa had those entered. So in your recollection, were any gloves found in that vehicle?
Not that I remember right offhand.
Do you have your report and would it refresh your recollection?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm specifically looking at the return on the search warrant.
You're saying it's not on the return, right?
I am not seeing it. Have you had a chance just to review the return on the search warrant, those 2 sheets?
Yes.
That's your front. Okay. Do you agree with me that gloves are not reflected on the
Yes,
sheets?
I don't see gloves.
Okay. But your testimony is that all of the evidence that was removed from the car is listed on the return on the search warrant, correct?
Should have. I know we had one error on here where the Bonita case wasn't, and we tried to cover that in the narrative of the report as well. So if there was any errors, they would try to cover that in the narrative.
All right. Were you responsible for taking the photos?
No.
No. Someone else was responsible?
Yes.
I have nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you. Redirect.
Just briefly, Judge, and on that discussion of photos, I did not turn the page on your photos. There was another set of photos that continued after 3EE. I'm going to show you what's been marked as 3FF. Do you recognize a photograph of that as part of the jewelry contents?
I do, yes, sir.
And 3GG as a man's white shirt?
Yes.
3HH. That's a placard from one of your investigators who was involved in processing the scene.
CSI investigator, yes, sir.
3II. That's the pair of the black Nikes.
It is.
3JJ. That's the pair of the brown boots.
Yes.
3KK. Another angle of the brown boots.
Yes.
3LL. Another close-up of the brown boots.
Yes.
3MM. Another angle of the brown boots.
Yes.
3NN, the size 11 of those brown boots.
Yes, sir.
300, black Nike close-up.
Yes.
3PP, bottom of the shoes of the black Nikes. Is that
Yes.
correct? 3QQ, black Nike from the side.
Yes.
3RR, another photograph of the black Nikes.
Yes.
3SS, black Nike close-up showing size 13.
Yes.
3TT, a close-up of the clipboard.
Yes.
3UU, photograph of the Home Flex gas reader.
Yes, sir.
3VV, hammer.
Yes.
3WW, 2 other pairs of men's sneakers.
Yes.
3XX, one of the pairs of those sneakers, size 13.
Yes, sir.
And 3YY, the other pair of the sneakers, size 13. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, stepping aside from the presentation of the evidence for just a moment, I want to bring in our legal analyst guest this hour. She is a solicitor in the state of South Carolina, attorney April Sampson. April, while we have you, we have to have you assess these prosecutors in the courtroom and the job that they're doing so far in this case. What do you think, please?
I mean, they are methodically going through every piece of evidence that they have and showing the planning. And then I believe what they're going to do is then go and show these items that are with the person who's now they're charged with a crime. They've already gone through and showed how much they look like the individuals in the video. They've already had the witness identify the defendants as the people who did this. So now they're just following up so that, as we say, you trust the witnesses, but you verify the information they gave you. And the way that you do that is with the facts beyond change. And that's the physical evidence that they're putting in right now.
Mm-hmm, definitely. April, tell me, when we think about this crime, this was a very calculated, terrorizing plan to harm 2 members of our elderly population. Tell us what advice you have, please, for anybody watching this show who's interested in protecting that portion of our vulnerable population that is arguably one of the most vulnerable groups of people.
Well, one of the things, this crime is very scary because they showed up. Almost anybody would have opened up their door. I don't think it had to do with age, but if someone from the gas company says they're checking for a gas leak, you're probably likely to open up the door. So my advice is, if you have something like that, call the company. If you get an email that says, hey, this is, electric company, we need your information because of this reason, or a bank records, call the bank. If a man shows up at your door at night saying they're here to check the gas, call the company, call the electric company. Because if it's true, the company's going to be able to verify that. And they'll say, yes, that's one of our workers. If not, don't open the door and call the police. that would be, no matter what your age, they're just getting so sophisticated with their crimes nowadays.
They really are. Excellent advice. Attorney April Sampson, thank you so much for weighing in on this case. It's not over. Friends at home, we're going to have much more of the home invasion hoax murder case today for you here on Court TV Live. And as you know, I always like to keep the focus on the victim. So let's remember Sam Murray as we head to break. 76 years old, a successful businessman, the owner of a jewelry store, taken in a horrific way. His wife, Linda, a victim as well. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Ted Rollins. Good to be with you on this Thursday. We're getting through another week here, busy one at Court TV. And we're going to pick up where we left off in Michigan, where the state's case continues in this disgusting home invasion hoax murder trial. The defendants here, Carlos Hernandez and Joshua Zuazo, are accused of dressing up like and they look like utility workers. They have the clipboard, the badge, the whole thing, and they use this ruse to get into the home of a jewelry store owner where he and his wife are, and then they end up killing the dad. Hussein Murray dead, his wife Linda injured, bound, all in an attempt to rob the home because they think, oh, they're jewelry people, they'll have money in their house. And now you got these two guys on trial. Before we go back into court, let's get you caught up on the case in case you're not. You're just joining us. Here's Kelly Craft.
DTE, we're checking for gas leaks.
The man ringing the doorbell posing as a utility worker is Carlos Hernandez, along with Joshua Zuazo, according to investigators, who say the pair used this hoax to get into the home of Hussein Sam Murray. The next morning, Murray was dead.
They give you anything you ask for. If you didn't have no money for something and you needed it, Sam will help you out.
He was the most generous, kindest man in the world.
He's just an amazing person, kind-hearted.
Sam like my uncle.
Murray owned the Gold and Glitter jewelry shop near Detroit for more than 30 years. Prosecutors say Hernandez and Zuazo allegedly targeted Murray, believing he would have valuables in his home.
He asked me, where is the jewelry and where is the cash?
Murray's wife, Linda, testified at a court hearing that after her husband let Hernandez and Zuazo into their home, the pair asked to be led to the basement on the pretext of checking for a gas leak.
I started asking, where's my husband? Where's my husband? And I didn't get a response. And when Mr. Zuazo came up the stairs, I saw blood on his vest. And I started screaming. And Mr. Hernandez hit me in the face.
The medical examiner testified that Murray had been beaten, stomped, and ultimately choked to death.
He had duct tape around his face, covering his mouth. He had duct tape around his hands and feet, also zip ties around his hands and paper bags covering his hands.
After binding Linda Murray with duct tape and ransacking the home, police say Hernandez and Zuazo fled in her car. Both were arrested within a couple of days and charged with felony murder and unlawful imprisonment.
All right, let's get you back into the courtroom now. A detective is on the stand. We'll pick up the testimony where we left off last hour.
People moved 3FF through 3YY into evidence.
I have no objection to that.
No, are there?
And if I could just approach with one of the exhibits that's already been entered. I know Ms. Lofton had discussed a pair of the gloves. And there's a couple places in these reports where items are documented. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, there's part of it in the typewritten up near the front of the reports. There's the handwritten, and there's also another group of itemization of the items. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to direct your attention with item 7G. Am I correct that black and brown gloves are noted here in this part of the report.
They are.
And this is the black and brown gloves. Do you recognize that as your department's code on the front with the sticker?
Yes.
Can you take that?
Sure.
Thanks. Can you open that and show us what's inside?
Take it out.
Yeah, please.
One black glove. Looks to be a right-handed glove. And then another black glove, which should be the other one for the left hand.
Okay. And do you recall seeing those when the vehicle was processed?
I do not recall seeing those myself.
They were taken in, though, with the other items.
Right.
If you could just put those back in for us. And all these physical items were turned over to the Oakland County Sheriff's Office?
They were.
They sent out 2 detectives to pick these up?
They came down and everything was turned over to them by CSI investigator King.
Okay. I don't have any more questions, Rich.
There was new evidence introduced all while for cross.
Thank you very much. Lieutenant, just to follow up on that last item, the 7GG, I think it was, that pair of black gloves, were you able to determine when you looked at them whether what size they were?
I didn't see the size.
Okay, and is it, just for filling out the record here a little bit, are those like latex gloves or?
They were made of rubber.
Made of rubber.
Yeah,
so,
some cloth on the end of them.
And cloth on the inside, but there was nothing that indicated what size it was.
I didn't see it a size, no sir.
Okay, thank you. Nothing further.
All right, that was across Zuazo, so across Hernandez.
Sir, just to follow up, I know we discussed the return on the search warrant. Would you agree with me that using that sheet, it also dictates or leaves a space where whoever is doing the search and finding the evidence has a place where they can put the location, so the location of the item and where it was found, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I know you were already asked that you don't have any independent recollection of the gloves being found in the car, so is it safe to assume you don't know where those gloves were found, correct?
Right.
I have nothing further.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Detective, thank you. You may step down.
Thank you.